Hey everybody out there in the YouTube universe, this is Mr. Movie, and in today's video, we're going to be doing another top 5 list. If you watch my channel, you know that I don't do top 10 lists like most other YouTubers by genre. I do the top 5 movies in my collection by a particular actor or a particular director. Now in this case, we're going to be doing an actor. For the movie to be considered, it has to be the actor's starring role or supporting role. They have to be very important to the movie. It can't be just a bit part. They can't have the movie without this particular person, so I attribute the movie to the particular actor. In this case, we're going to be doing the top 5 movies in my collection from Sean Connery. Now, Sean Connery is one of my favorite actors. Guy's in the Hall of Fame, undeniable. I struggled with this list. It was hard because there's a lot of movies I left off. But like I said, I do top 5, so I had to whittle it down. Now, usually I whittle it down by what I do in my review videos. I have a scale of 0 to 100 for rewatchability. How many times can I watch the movie without it getting boring or repetitive or me hating it? So, you know, they're always high because obviously I like them. They're in my collection, but you know, they vary whether I like it more than another one, so on and so forth. So this came down to the rewatchability scale on each of these movies, but it also just kind of came down to my personal favorites. Now, there's going to be a big contention here, I think, because I didn't put any James Bond movies. Now, my favorite, I usually don't list any movies that aren't on the list because I just want to get down to the list and tell you what they are. But in this case, I felt like I had to because, come on, Sean Connery is James Bond. You know, I like a lot of the other movies, but he's the guy. He is the James Bond, the James Bond. And my favorite movie of those is Goldfinger. I didn't put it only because it didn't beat these particular 5. So it hurt me not to have any James Bond on for James Bond himself. But like I said, these 5 I like better than the best James Bond movie by him, in my opinion. So no James Bond. I apologize, 007. Well, let's kick it off. Number 5 is Rising Sun. This is a really cool movie. It's a cop buddy movie, but usually those are comedies. This is not a comedy. Him and Wesley Snipes having to deal with the inner workings of the Japanese culture in America. But if you know anything about Japanese businessmen, they take their culture straight from Japan and bring it over here and don't change a thing. And it's a very secretive thing. They have their traditions, and it's hard to get into there and find out what it's all about if you're not Japanese. So you got a black cop and a white cop trying to figure out a crime that happened within a Japanese corporation. A lot of cool action. The interaction between those two guys is really good because they couldn't be more different. Not just the two actors, Wesley Snipes and Sean Connery, but the characters they play. You know, you got one guy from the inner city, one guy's kind of a stuffy older guy, you know what I mean? But they're both good cops. They want to do their job and they want to do it right. They want to catch the killer. They play off each other really well, you know, and the contrast between them is very apparent in the movie, and it makes for some good tension. The story is really good. I mean, it's a whodunit, and but I mean, it's really you think it's one guy, and then you think it's another guy, and then it's, you know, could it be these people involved all in this conspiracy? And it takes you all around, and you know, different turns and. Very, very interesting, very cool take on the cop partner movie. You know, the two cops that have to be, they're partners, but they're partnered up for this, and they don't want to be, and they don't like each other, but they find to respect each other, and it's that kind of trope, but it works really well with these two. Cool story, good action, and it's a really solid movie. And anytime it's on cable or something, you know, it doesn't matter where I catch it, I watch it. I really dig Rising Sun. So it comes in at number 5 on this list. Coming in at number 4, I don't think a lot of people are hip to this movie, but it's a really, really good movie, and it's deep. and that's Finding Forrester. It's listen, I've been a writer. I played basketball my whole life, and this is about a writer. Sean Connery is a writer who wrote one novel, and it was one of the greatest American novels. And then he kind of went into seclusion because of things that happened with his family and stuff like that. So my battery is running low there, so I had to pause that for a second. Excuse me. He has a lot of struggles that he's dealing with mentally because things happened to his family and it kind of messed him up, and he never wrote again. And then there's this black kid from the inner city. He's from the Bronx, that's where I'm from, and he's a basketball player, but he's a literary genius, and he gets a scholarship to go to this school. And for a prank, they try to rob his apartment, which is still in the Bronx because that's where he's from, but he never left. Sean Connery's character, he's kind of a hermit, and he drops his bag there while he's trying to rob him, and it's just a joke. They just want to steal one thing out of his apartment, nothing like a robbery type of thing, kind of like a dare. And when he drops his book, Sean Connery's character finds all his writings, and he starts correcting things, and he leaves the bag outside, and the kid finds it, and he asks him to look at more of his stuff. And it's a really great story because you have the older man, again, two people from very different worlds who have writing in common, and they form this bond, this relationship, and it's a really cool movie. The guy is going through his struggles, and the kid is going through his struggles, and they're very different struggles, but they help each other through it, and to get to where they want to be, where Sean Connery's character becomes back into society and wants to write again, and the kid is struggling because he's in a private school and he's from the hood and all that kind of stuff, and he gets through it too because of each other. It's a really endearing movie. It's really written well, and the acting's phenomenal. I really suggest, if you're a movie fan, to check out that movie. Coming in at number 4, Finding Forrester. Coming in at number 3, completely different movie. We're going left field from that to The Rock. If you want just brainless action, The Rock is your movie. And Sean Connery's character is great in this movie. Again, playing off another character, and it's just, he was locked up forever. He was a British spy. They kind of erased him, but he was the only person to break out of Alcatraz ever. So they needed his help to break in because it was taken over by soldiers who were holding a whole bunch of people hostage because they think, soldiers who were killed in war weren't, their families weren't given the proper medals and the proper payment. So, I mean, the cast is just crazy, you know what I mean? It's just such a star-studded cast, and the acting's good because they're great actors, but they don't need to be because the action is just it's so crazy. I mean, Nicolas Cage playing off Nicolas Cage is nuts, and playing off of Sean Connery's character. He's an FBI agent, and he's pretty green, and he's more of a scientist. He's not a field guy. So, and they got to save pretty much all of San Francisco from being, hit with these rockets that have sarin gas, which is terrible, will kill everybody. And they have to go through all of this stuff. They have to break into Alcatraz, and they have to get, overtake this pretty much army almost of ex-soldiers, all under Ed Harris's character, who's just a badass military guy. And there's a lot of other great actors in it. But the action is from beginning to end, nonstop. It's just, if you want to just buckle in and watch a great action movie, this is it. And even though Sean Connery's old, it doesn't matter. He still kicks ass. He's just a badass character. And it's really good. It's really entertaining. And you don't think of Sean Connery that way sometimes because he was an older guy, but he's great in this movie and just takes it to the next level. So yeah, coming in number 3 is The Rock. Coming in number 2, this is kind of controversial, I think, because Sean Connery himself hated this movie. And it's the movie that ended his career because he didn't want to act after making this movie, which I don't understand because I love this movie. It's so great. It's from a comic book, but I'm just going to... Listen, League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. I don't know who hates this movie. I don't know who loves this movie, but I don't know how you don't love this movie. It takes like all these characters from literature, you know, like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde and Dorian Gray and, you know, a vampire and the Invisible Man. And it just takes all of them and they have to come together. It's, you know, it's that whole trope of we got to form a team because there's this imminent threat to the world. And he plays Alan Quatermain, who's also, you know, from literature. And he's the leader, and they pull this team together, and they got to fight against this evil guy who's trying to take over the world. He's basically trying to start a world war by setting up different countries against each other so he could profit from basically an arms race. He's got all these scientists captured, and but they don't really know that his real plan is not trying to get all this weaponry. It's to get each of their special powers, you know, take samples from them and learn from what they can do, and then sell them to countries so they would have their own vampires and invisible men and all. And the action is just great. It's just, I don't know why he hated it. And I heard it was something to do with the director. That I can understand, but not like in the film, I don't get. And there's some people who don't like this film or don't, you know, haven't seen it because they've heard bad things about it. Watch this movie. This movie's great. It's action-packed, colorful characters, a really cool story, a cool twist, and he's great in it. He's a grumpy old man. He doesn't really want to get into it. He doesn't want to be involved. He's retired, but he comes in and just leads the team into some really badass, ass-kicking action. Great action movie. I don't know why anybody would not like it. I love it. Shout out to Greg. Me and him might be the only two that really, really love this movie. Coming in at number 2, League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. Coming in at number 1, a classic, undeniable, The Untouchables. This movie has, I mean, the actors, forget it. I mean, Sean Connery you got, of course. But, I mean, another thing about this movie, it's so quotable. I mean, everything Sean Connery says in his movie, I've quoted at one time or another. The writing is superb. The acting is superb. And it's the story of, you know, Chicago during the Prohibition era. And, you know, just gangsters. It's Al Capone, played by Robert De Niro. And, you know, Sean Connery is just a regular cop. He gets recruited to try to stop Capone. And it's Kevin Costner. He's the main guy they bring in, who plays Elliot Ness. And, you know, they form their group of untouchables to take down Capone's gang and stop the bootlegging. This is during Prohibition, when it was illegal to have alcohol. Capone ran everything. And he's played by Robert De Niro just phenomenally. Best Al Capone I've ever seen on screen. And the play of, because you have the grizzled veteran in Sean Connery, and the Kevin Costner character is kind of green, but he's not. He's just not a hardcore guy. He's not from Chicago. He doesn't really understand how it works. And they also get Andy Garcia on their squad, who's a rookie. And it's them against the mob. And I mean, it's you know, a lot of what happened. They ended up getting Capone on tax evasion, but they went to war with him, Elliot Ness and his untouchables. So it's sort of a true story. Almost, you know, I would say like 90% of it's true. But great film. Such great acting, directing, and like I said, one of the most quotable movies ever. And Sean Connery's character is great. You know what I mean? He's not the leader of the team, but he's the soul and the heart and soul of that team. And they all follow his lead, even though Elliot Ness is the guy who runs the Untouchables. Phenomenal film. Forget about the list and Sean Connery. Just overall, one of the best movies ever. One of the best gangster movies ever. Can't be touched. Untouchables. So running it down, we got number 5 is Rising Sun. Number 4 is Finding Forrester. Number 3 is The Rock. Number 2 is League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. And number 1 is The Untouchables. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, share it. If you have friends who like Sean Connery, let them know about this. If you have a different order or different movies you like from him, let me know in the comments. If you like this video and my other content, Please subscribe, hit the notification bell, because when I drop new videos, which is all the time, you'll get a notification. You can check those out too. Like I said, if you like it, hit the like, share it, let everybody know, put them on to Mr. Movie. And I have plenty to choose from, so the videos will keep coming. Thank you so much again for watching. This is Mr. Movie signing off, and I'll see you again next time at the Flicks.